Hey, I should have probably added the audio for that instead first. That's fine. Wait, that's not working for some reason. Oh, that makes sense. Let's put it here and test it. Say something, Rocco.
I'm testing.
Cool. It has to have worked, yeah. Popey. Welcome to the stream. I don't know why I'm typing. I could just speak. Ha! Right.
You could. What's on the agenda today?
Lots of stuff. There are 24 topics in the docket. Some good news, some bad news, some ugly news. Yeah, roughly 24. The bad stuff is hardware news, actually.
Really?
Yeah. It's not like unfortunate or anything. It's just bad because it's a bad product.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Oh no, it's gonna be a fun one. I teed it up. Let's see. Let's go ahead and switch to this. All right. I'm pretty sure everything is ready to go. This is the first time I've done it this way. It's very similar to last week, but also very different. So we'll see how much that fails. I'm going to do live streaming with lots of switching and also video capture inside the live stream of like media playing and stuff. So not just like still visuals. So this is going to be fun. All right. Make sure I'm like being picked up. Ways back. Nice. Coming up on This Week in Linux, we take a look at some browser releases, a new crowdfunding project for socializing the command line. In distro news, there are quite a few releases and even some pioneering happening this week. Linux hardware saw some good, bad, and ugly news. Then we'll check out what is new in the Linux gaming. All that and more coming up. I'm Michael Tennell with TuxDigital, bringing you your weekly source for Linux GNews. Intro done. I didn't keep track of that, though. Oh, well. Oh, really? How badly? I should, clarify how badly out of sync. Oh. Why is that not being displayed? That's not bad, actually. Bonjour. And everything else after Michelle, or in between those two things, I don't know what you mean. Enough to be annoying. Ah. I'm going to have to just test it after the fact because, if it's off for this time. Because I've prepped so much stuff that if I don't want to cancel it all. Let's see. Of course. Gotta make sure these aren't playing though. Yes. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people aren't seeing it, so it's not as bad, I guess. Oh, I say good evening and or afternoon. Indeed. Fair and it doesn't hurt to push it. Might as well try. Okay. Up first in app news this week, TuxDigital released version 2.2, which will be the last major release for the prior to the switching to the focus on. That was such a broken. I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna do it again because that was bad. This time, regardless, though. Up first in app news this week, TuxDigital released version 2.2, which will be the last major version release before the switch to focusing on Falcon. After this release, TuxDigital will only be offering bug fixes, and maintenance. This release added a session manager, improved location bar completer with search suggestions, and various improvements in the tab manager extension. Yep, keeping it. Because, reasons. But Rocket League is life, so that's ridiculous.
I know, right?
I have French heritage. That's enough. I'll just leave it there. All right, next. Qt Browser is a cross-platform keyboard-driven browser with a Vim-like minimalistic interface. Version 1.0.1 of Qt Browser was released this week, and it comes with many big breaking changes. Most notably, the new configuration and system and the switching to Qt web engine instead of WebKit. I'll just edit it, whatever. 16, 20. I didn't mark down when I started that one. It's actually really, like, the screenshots are not very helpful. So, it's just, it looks like i3 with a browser. Because they only show, like, their own website, which is weird. So it doesn't really show, like, the full of what it can do. This week I found a really cool project called OpenCV Playing Card Detector. This is an open source Python program that uses OpenCV to detect and identify play cards from a Pi camera video feed on a Raspberry Pi. The developer released the code on GitHub, and the developer says he is doing it to make a blackjack playing robot. But instead, maybe in addition to that, or just instead, I hope he uses it to set up something like Twitch Plays Blackjack. That'd be awesome. Yeah, he shows how it works in this video. So if you're interested, the show notes will have a link to that. It's pretty cool because It scans the card and then converts it to like black and white and does a threshold detection, and it's pretty cool. Maybe that's just me, but that looks weird on the thing. This week, the Linux Foundation launches the Open Messaging Project. According to the project announcement, the goal of the project is to provide a vendor-neutral open standard for distributed messaging. That isn't that descriptive, but it's actually kind of difficult to explain what it is in a short snippet. The Open Messaging Project is intended to be a more efficient replacement for the Java Messaging Service, or JMS. It's basically an agnostic server-to-server data sending system. If you are interested in learning more, then I suggest looking up some articles on Java Messaging Service, as that's been around for a while, so there'll be a lot more sources that explain it. Hello, Shader. Yeah, I like trying to find these interesting open source projects. The next one is also an interesting open source project. Wait, no. Well, I didn't mess anything up. That's good. Borg Backup released version 1.1 this week. If you're unfamiliar with Borg Backup, it is a deduplicating command line backup program. The main goal of the Borg is to provide an efficient and a secure way to backup data. The data deduplication technique used makes Borg suitable for daily backups, since it only stores changed use. So it was like a transactional backup. The authenticated encryption technique makes it suitable for backups that to use on not fully trusted targets, maybe like Dropbox, for example. Borg uses tried and tested compression algorithms like LZ4 and encryption like 256-bit AES. It's a command line tool, by the way. Serge, you already are a moderator, dude. I was convinced about Librem 5 wanting it, but not the, $600, $700 convinced. All right, this next one's pretty cool. So let's stay on the command line for a little bit for the next news item, and that is a new crowdfunding campaign aimed at adding a social community feature directly into the Linux command line. ZK wants to be a social repository where you can discover thousands of examples and interfaces contributed from users all around the world. The idea behind ZK is to create a social platform where any ZK user can share a command they created for others to use. If you'd like to learn more about that, then check out their Kickstarter page linked in the show notes. It's actually pretty difficult to explain what this is because it just requires viewing like the descriptions and examples and stuff. Do your job, Serge. Nice. Yeah, it's an interesting approach because it's the social aspect of it is someone's like writes out a command or they can ask a question and you can provide responses like as a community to those questions. So that someone says what command do I need for this, and then it would display a list of commands and also like a tier system, so like a tree system, so you can like go through stuff a lot quicker. Are you trying to tell me something I should like reconsider that, Serge? Sending me Telegram stuff on while streaming. Ugh. It's like people don't even know that I'm streaming.
Right.
I mean, they're literally asking me, "Are you streaming?" Oh, yeah, I wasn't referring to you, Bradley. Because he was in the Telegram group, which is fine because that group is supposed to be where I should have already posted it. But I'm saying like people are sending me personal messages and stuff like back to back. But yeah, I should have totally posted that. We can go 25. All right, that's fine. Nice, Farron. So go from one crowdfunding thing to another. Speaking of crowdfunding, this episode is brought to you by the Linux is Everywhere shirt. It's a shirt I made to celebrate the proliferation of Linux. The concept of the design has Tux blended into the background to convey the message. Even if you aren't aware that Linux is there, it probably is. This shirt is available for shipping from North America and from Europe. I think that was the first time I ever said proliferation on a recording without just ruining it. So I always change where the R and the L are.
I didn't realize that was the backstory behind the design. That's cool.
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah, I never told you why I designed it. I just kept showing you the shirt like, hey, buy it. Yes, it does have a girl tee version. The same link as takes that. You have to change like which product. There's like a little drop down box that changes to the women's shirt. Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, next time I'll just take out the dashes because that link works too. Or it should. I'm not 100% sure it is. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate that. English Bob, thank you. It's on tuxdigital.com/Linux is everywhere. And you probably can take out the hyphens.
You can. I just checked.
All right, cool. Because I know I made a bunch of different versions, of like just in case the SEO or something didn't work right. Nice, Brad. Perfect example. Most people would have no interaction with that at all. Well,
yeah,
as
I
far
actually
as
took a picture of ours the same way. That was rebooting and it showed Linux.
Nice. All right. In distro news this week, Chakra GNU/Linux released version 2017.10. This release was codenamed Girdle. Chakra GNU/Linux is a distribution with a half-rolling release model and an emphasis on KDE and Qt technologies. This release is a maintenance snapshot release with many upgrades including Plasma 5.10.5 and the Linux kernel 4.12.4. Serge, do you know German? Farron, if that was possible, I would. I mean, possible in my lack of making them myself thing. Like, I plan on making a bunch of other shirts. Whoa, that was weird. I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking about selling one of these, but I'm not sure how many people would want that. Because it's just a logo for my channel.
Who wouldn't want a TuxDigital shirt?
Right? That's what I was thinking. I'm not sure if that my bottle falling had a sound or not. I assume so, though. All right. Oh, okay. Sorry. It just all of a sudden just fell over for some reason. Well, I mean, I know why it fell. I placed it in a weird position. It just took a very long time for it to do so. Like a bong. Yep. Next up in the news is Q4OS 2.4 Scorpion. It was released this week as a long-term support LTS release to be supported for at least 5 years with security patches and software updates. Q4OS is a distro using the Trinity desktop environment, which is a fork of the KDE 3.5 codebase. Q4OS Scorpion is based on Debian Stretch 9.2, Trinity 14.0.5, and it is available for 64-bit and 32-bit machines. Like, why is it like I'm not sure the appeal, honestly, of Trinity because of the 3.5. I mean, it looks like 3.5. It looks like XP, like heavily.
Yeah, but if you're into that, that's something you're gonna want. I'm not, but
yeah, I'm just other than like nostalgia of like not wanting things to change. I don't get it.
yeah, but there's a lot of people that don't like the modern look.
Yeah, but they could just change the look instead of using like super ancient stuff.
They could.
Paul, actually, I think Trinity looks a little newer than 1999, but only by like maybe 2 years.
It's a step above FCE.
Yeah. Actually, I would probably say XFCE is better than LXDE as far as like the way you can make it look. Well, default they're both hideous, but a lot of people don't like the modern look. Citation needed. Nice.
Sorry, Alan. I think he did give it a compliment, Seb. Just saying.
Well, okay. Let's not go so far as to say praise, but it's definitely not the worst. It has some redeeming features. I will say that. And I don't really have anything against them. I just don't I don't see the appeal. I mean, I don't see the appeal of people like using it as a lightweight distro or DE when it's not really that light. That's all.
Yeah, but light's a relative term for your hardware.
Well, very true. I'm just saying, like, in the terms of like compared to other ones, people say that it's light when it's like little heavier than Mate and also much heavier than LXDE. So. The team over at Elementary OS were interviewed this week by Canonical's Sarah Dickinson about upcoming integration of Snap packages into their infrastructure. In the interview, the Elementary devs revealed the fact that they are going to be implementing Ubuntu Snappy technologies to provide their users with a modern and secure confined app format. To quote the developers, the confinement that Snaps offer provides an extra layer of security. And confinement means that we don't have to spend a lot of time performing a security audit in order for developers to do this. We can both save time reviewing and keep our users safe. I think this is a great piece of news, and I'm very happy that other distros are adopting the Snap ecosystem because it's got a ton of potential, and the more distros do this, the better, even better it's going to be. If you want to go light, go with LXQt. I think LXQt is it's light in the sense of how light it is versus other Qt based DEs, but it's not. I mean, they still got a little work to do. Control C, Control V. Too late. Nice. Yeah, Viper. I think Budgie is great as well. Vipor? I'm not sure. It's got potential, and I'm really looking forward to 11 when they switch to Qt, because that's going to make it even better. Coding commanders. There's a piece of hardware in the show today that is the opposite of hardcore hardware, so you might enjoy that one. Okay. Endless Computers announced this week on their Twitter account that Endless OS has recently become the first GNU/Linux distribution to enable support for Flatpak apps from FlatHub by default with this latest release. Starting with version 3.2.5, the Endless OS release will have support for installing Flatpak apps from the FlatHub repository by default. Endless OS was kind of like one of those things that you would think needed some kind of solution in order to do this. So it's interesting to see that they're finally doing it. Because they were just making their own little store, which is, not own store, but like their own store with applications specific to their distro. It's like that'd be problematic.
It's nice to see, but it seems to me that they're already. It's surprising to see that this is the first one. It seems to me like there already should have been one already.
Well, it's not a Flatpak. Like, it's not the first distro with Flatpak support. It's the first distro with the FlatHub support. So, like, instead of having Flatpak support, then you have to figure out where the repository is, because that's how the normal Flatpak is set up. They actually provide the FlatHub repository by default, so you can just install directly from FlatHub without having to add FlatHub as well. So it's Endless OS is like touting it as being like a first major distro something thing, but it's like they really just added a repo by default. Is it Viper? I'm gonna go with Viper. Thanks, English Bob. I appreciate that. Viper, I think that Snaps will probably win. Just overall, there's way more compelling reasons to use that as a developer than Flatpak. says yeah, Viper, you got it. But I said like 3 different versions, so I don't know which one you mean.
Pretty sure it's Viper.
Yeah, I'd go with that, but we'll see. All right, next up. Endless isn't the only distro to announce some pioneering decisions this week. Ubuntu Mate announced that 17.10 will be the first distro with pre-installed Snap support by being the first to ship a Snap by default with Pulse Mixer. I used Pulse Mixer recently, and it's actually pretty cool. It's basically like a command line version of Pulse Audio. Actually, Pulse Audio volume control, or Pavu control. And what's really cool is that you can connect it to a drop-down terminal and activate things with your mouse while still being able to use the keyboard in the terminal. That is pretty awesome. Although Telegram is still broken in that sense.
The Telegram Snap, is that what you're saying?
No, so with the Telegram thing, you can like record your voice in like your phone. You can just record a voice memo. You can also do that on a desktop, but that voice activation thing only applies if you hold it down. So Pulse doesn't see it unless you're holding it down, but you can't hold it down at the same time as select what device to use. So when you let go, it disappears and you can't choose it. So like if they had a lock, like what's annoying is that their phone version has a lock where you slide up and you can lock it on, but you can't do that on the desktop, so it's just broken. And what's interesting is that you can hold it down, drop the terminal down, have Pulse Mixer running, look at what you're like the available things, move it, but then Telegram still ignores the decision and switches back to the whatever default it is. And typically it's like not even the default system default. It's just like whatever they choose. It's random. Like for me, they just chose my sound card. Fair, and I don't know what that's referring to because that's very unlikely to happen. So that kind of looks like it was done on purpose, honestly. So I'm not going to bring attention to that because it looks like it's fake. Not necessarily fake, but purposefully done. It's an old name I've had since I was a teenager. Yeah, Pulse Mixer is quite nice. Equalizer is nice too. I like this one because it allows you to control the volumes as well, but also choose and move devices. Zeb. Oh, it was done on purpose to prove a point. But that's not what they're claiming. It's not their claim doesn't say you will not get a virus or malware or a spyware. It says you don't need to worry about it, which is probably true, but when someone goes and specifically makes it infected, it's like they didn't claim that it's completely invulnerable. Their claim is fine. Their claim is pretty reasonable. It is possible, but it's reasonable. It's more likely with Wine installed, though, for sure. I'll give you that. Oh, Paul, also Pulse Mixer can increase the volume. So, like, by default, you can go from 100% to, like, by default, you can see in the screenshot that it says 100%. You can actually just increase it as much as you want. I think it maxes out at 200%, though. Still waiting for my first Linux virus. There you go. Welcome to the stream, Toss. Let's see. Next. Ubuntu 17.10 Artful Aardvark has entered the final freeze period in preparation for the official release of Ubuntu 17.10 in just a few days. Ubuntu 17.10 is scheduled for release this coming Thursday, October 19th. I wonder if y'all heard the notification thing I got on my phone.
Yes.
Ah, that's annoying. I'll leave it in though. Do it live.
Well, the only thing with the Ubuntu releases is we talk about them starting with the alphas and then the betas and the final freeze, and by the time it actually comes out, we're like all talked out about it.
That's kind of true. There's a little bit of a saturation. I mean, I think this one is probably the most saturated content, mainly because the switch to GNOME and all those changes is like basically every week there was something to talk about. So at this point, for the past 6 months, it's been very rare that you weren't talking about Ubuntu, which in some cases I suppose that is kind of a saturation issue. Ubuntu Budgie is pretty cool. I mean, I like the idea of Budgie with Ubuntu's, repo stuff. But now that snaps are going to be available or already available in Solus, and they're the other stuff they're doing with, there's a very compelling reason to just use Solus. And Farron, yeah, I agree. Wine pre-installed makes it an issue. They really shouldn't make that claim with Wine installed, but it's still not likely. A Windows game you were playing crashed in Windows but ran in Linux. That's pretty funny. Was it Wine-based, Viper? I meant to actually turn my notifications off, and I forgot to do so. And then I got a notification earlier in the show, and then I heard it and ignored it and kept going, and then I forgot to turn it off. So it happened again. Andy Turfer, no, Budgie's not switched to Qt yet, but they are in the process of doing so as they started the development of 11. I think 2 weeks ago. At least they announced it anyway. Popey warned you not to install extensions in GNOME. That's funny. Everybody's going to do that, though. So, because, GNOME without extensions is pretty much unusable.
Pretty much. KDE celebrated their 21st birthday this week with a lot of new releases. As we discussed last week, Plasma 5.11 was released this week with a lot of new features and bug fixes. The most interesting thing for me would have to be the return of the notification history system. KDE also released a lot of application updates for Dolphin, Ocular, GwenView, Kdenlive, and many more. KDE Neon was the first distro to release support for Plasma 5.11 within just a few hours of the announcement. maybe even less than that. Arch Linux and OpenSUSE Tumbleweed were not very far behind, as they also released support this week for the new version. To learn more about Plasma 5.11, check out the promo video that I made for the project, for the KDE project, and the link is in the show notes and on the screen. That was funny because actually I accidentally discussed the notification section while the notification section was playing in the video.
Perfect.
That was totally calculated.
Well, we gave you a plug on Destination Linux.
Nice. Appreciate it. I like how they're like the improvements in Dolphins are some bug fixes stuff, so I'm looking forward to like playing with that some more. And 5.12 is coming out very soon in comparison to when they just released this. But who knows? Paul, Solus is probably fine for a new user as long as you are managing it for them. Like if you manage it for them, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Although, you might not want to do that. I wouldn't. Just that it can easily break your desktop. Yeah, it totally could. But also, GNOME by default is not a desktop worth not breaking. Ha! Got him.
Had to get that in there, didn't you?
I mean, it has a lot of issues. So, I mean, like when you first use it, it's like it's ugly, and there's like so many missing features that you kind of just have to do it. You have to use extensions. Oh, Puppy's saying, you're saying you still use Unity? I always liked Unity. I was kind of disappointed when it went away. That's why I made that video about, hey, maybe don't let it go away. Fair in the system settings concepts, there's been multiples, but yeah, they kind of do look better. Well, they can probably like improve it in the next release. The Mate extension. Nice. Even playing with the CSS. Well, okay, the CSS for GNOME Shell is not, that's not really fair because GNOME broke the CSS structure in the GNOME Shell. Like, it used to be just CSS. It used to just be that. You just go in and change some codes, change some values, and you're done. It's now, we're going to take a CSS file and then compress it for no reason and make it an archive so that you have to figure out how to decompress it and then change it and then recompress it before you can see your changes. That is just ridiculous. Thanks, Bob. Yeah, you don't have to thumbs up, but if you want to, feel free. Install Unity session and it froze. It depends on how you install the Unity session. What do you mean? Like you installed Unity on top of something else? English Bob, I agree. He should totally just quit his job. Right, Rocco?
Totally. Yep. If it's this thing about paying your bills, and I like paying my bills.
Who
So.
needs to do that? It's ridiculous. Coding commanders, it's a good thing to be able to do for sure. The DE Unity session, then log out, choose Unity. That means you didn't have Unity in the first place and you install Unity on top of something else, which is automatically problematic. So, switching finally to the next topic. I got sidetracked quite a bit.
No,
never. In Linux hardware news, Purism's Librem 5 security and privacy-focused smartphone was successfully crowdfunded this week and has even passed its goal of 1.5 million with over 1.7 million as of this recording and still has 7 days left to go. Oh, 8 days. Well, it's 7 days and change then. Either way. I'm looking forward to the eventual release of this device in 2019. Yeah, Solus is supposedly making a KDE version. They are Plasma release, but they haven't really got to that point. If they're gonna if it's a community edition or if it's actually gonna be available from the Solus download page. All right, next one. This one's the fun one. Well, they're all fun, really, but. All right. Where's that one? There we go. In the intro this week's show, or start over. I need to actually mark it down anyway, because I didn't do that. In the intro to this week's show, I mentioned that we had the good news, the bad, and the ugly news in hardware this week. The Librem 5 was certainly the good news. This next item covers both the bad and the ugly. This week, a new Pi top was released, with the biggest feature being a new patented cooling system. The ugly portion of the news is probably obvious. However, the bad part might not be. The Pi top was a successful crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo, but is yet to ever actually fulfill their campaign promises. The Pi top claimed that it would help you learn to make printed circuit boards, starting with 3D printing for creating real hardware products. This campaign promised to create an open project by releasing 3D assets so anyone with access to a 3D printer could make their own Pi top. And as of today, they have yet to release anything at all in respect to that promise. Pi top became a proprietary product, and with their announcement of this patented cooling system, I think it is safe to say that they have no intention of ever making good on that promise. If bad and ugly wasn't enough, the Pi Top is even worse because the Pi Stop kit sells for $320, which of course is ridiculous. You can get a pretty decent actual laptop for that kind of mini. I just want to do the good, bad, and ugly because how ugly this thing is. Like, this is just awful. Like this nasty green color that you literally is the only option. And then you got like the whole completely ignoring all of the things they claimed they were going to do. Ugh. Thanks, English Bob, for getting people to thumb and like and feel free to subscribe, people, also, if you haven't. I mean, what do you mean, Toss, that it'll fail? I mean, it's kind of already succeeded in the sense of like the crowdfunding. So, I mean, as far as like the actual product coming out and not being what they want or what they claimed it will be, kind of like the laptops they did. Brad, you said LWDW last said that they 1.5 million wasn't anywhere near enough to get it. That's not necessarily true. A lot of people were comparing that to the Ubuntu phone, where they had like 30 million, 32 million, something like that. And they're comparing that, but you can't really compare that because at the time of the Ubuntu phone, nothing like it existed. So they would actually have to like manufacture everything from like, themselves. Whereas the Librem 5 wouldn't be manufactured by Purism. They would modify it, but they wouldn't be manufacturing it really. And the baseband stuff that is like one of the biggest features of the phone is also not being done by them, but whatever manufacturer or ODM they're going to have do it. So, like, the differences between the two is very drastic and with just a few years difference. Green is a good color, but it's in my opinion, it's not good for a laptop color. It looks like a child's toy. See you, Paul. Thanks for coming to the stream. Awesome. Like, I just don't think it's a good... How is that heatsink patented? I don't know. They supposedly patented it, though.
It turns out it's all about the money.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Shocker. What's funny is that there are other competitors to the Pi Top that do the same thing, and they do it better. But they require you to do more build out. Thanks for coming to the show, Shader. Let's see. Next topic. I guess I forgot to switch that, actually. Dun-dun-dun-dun. All right. Let's move on to some really cool news. The European Union pledged this week to support open source government solutions. I'm going to butcher this. The Tallinn Declaration on e-government states that European governments will make more use of open source solutions and open standards when building ICT systems and solutions, for many reasons, including to avoid vendor lock-ins. That's actually pretty awesome. Because it's like a collection of like 32 countries. No. 36 countries? Well, now I have to make sure I'm right. Isn't that fun? $32 countries. I was right the first time. Either way. Oh, Brad. Okay, you're welcome. Well, I mean, I'm not sure if they're actually basing that opinion. Liberty Paul, like the it's not the European Union exclusively. It's a European Union with the EFTA. So that's why there's more countries. But Brad, if it could be a different argument if they were not comparing it to the Ubuntu phone. If they were comparing it to the Ubuntu phone, then that's why it's not going to be relevant. But if they were referring it to, just logistically, I really don't have an opinion on that one because I'd have to see their argument first. The 2017 LibreOffice, nope. The 2017 LibreOffice conference event kicked off this week in Rome, Italy, with a focus on the development for the next major release of LibreOffice Suite. LibreOffice Office Suite. That's LibreOffice version 6.0 is tentatively scheduled for the release next year in early February. Libra. Yeah, well, Cody Commanders, the kids' tablets are usually like reinforced stuff. Like not very good. And just meant to like take punishment. They were comparing to the Ubuntu phone. Oh, okay. Brad, then yeah. I definitely disagree with that comparison. Because the Ubuntu phone was doing it before there was even a possibility for a phone like it to exist. So now that a lot of the work can be done by an ODM, they don't really have to worry as much. It's about, how they can fund it or not. Yeah. That's unfortunate when a lot of people were comparing things. Because like the Ubuntu Edge phone was like a campaign 5 years ago. Something like that. Thanks for coming to the stream, English Problem. Well, 32 million didn't get it to market because they didn't raise 32 million. I think they raised like 15 or something like that. Up first this week in Linux gaming, Solus announced that they will be creating a base snap of their Linux Steam integration. Since the moment Solus announced that they would be implementing full snap support in their distro, I've been hoping for something news like this to become a thing. So it's quite awesome to see it started. The Solus team says they are hoping to relieve the pressure on distributions for supporting gaming. The snapped LSI will ensure that the Steam/LSI combo would work identically on every distribution, even if they don't support multi-libs. This takes all of the Solus gaming Steam work and provides it for everyone, on any distro, with reliable updates. I think this is an incredibly exciting news, and I can't wait for this to come to fruition. And then from good news to maybe not so good news, but who knows really? Next up in the news, Humble Bundle announced that they have been acquired by the media site IGN. It's hard to tell whether this will be a good thing or not, but due to the current reputation for IGN in the industry, it's somewhat unsettling. Humble co-founder John Graham and IGN executive vice president Mitch Galbraith discussed the acquisition with Gamasutra today, with Galbraith stating, if it's not broken, don't fix it. But following that, Graham said, we want to stick to the fundamentals in the short term. For me, and probably many others, what is unsettling is the part where he says short term. The proper humble indie bundles that started it all have been very rare as of late, and with this acquisition, I fear that they may even be gone. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Oh, it messed up the colors. No, I don't care. I mean, I do care, not enough to do it again. I mean, Humble Bundle's going to survive. That's not an issue. It's the Linux-oriented, open-source, indie-oriented probably won't. It'll be like console bundles and stuff and like, Windows-only type bundles.
It will never be the same.
Yeah. It'll probably never be the same. I would say more than likely it's going to be a bad thing because IGN is not known for being the most well represented company in the market, especially considering they take money from there's allegedly they take money from like EA to give good reviews on their games even if the game is trash. If it ain't broken, it means you haven't fixed it enough. Nice.
That's a great motto.
I like it. Now let's talk about some recent game releases. The helicopter combat game Heliborn has left early access and is now officially released. Their Steam page description says, get behind the cockpits of the best helicopters in the world, from the classic machines of 1950s to the modern gunships of the 21st century. This sounds pretty fun, actually, so I'm going to have to give this a try.
Linux?
It is Linux, yes. $20.
Nice.
$20. Kind of high for like an experimental type game, but not that bad.
I am really not good at flying games, though.
Oh, I'm not either. It's also a flying combat thing, so. And also they say that the mechanisms of the helicopter are pretty difficult, as they're meant to be, really.
Almost need a joystick.
Yeah, that'd be cool, though. Sinker is a minimalistic puzzle game using various contraptions to sink pucks. The responsive ambient music is also a nice touch. This game seems to take about 2 hours to complete, and for just $1, that's not bad. And it looks like if you look through the different examples, it can get pretty complicated. So it's not like just a basic simple game. It looks pretty challenging when you get to the higher levels. Monsters in Medicine is a turn-based puzzle game about building a hospital for injured monsters. This game recently released with full Linux support, and it's so quirky I just had to include it in the show. Richard Addison, in order for you to get to ODT to prevail over like dog formats, that would be convincing people to just use it. Because, Microsoft Office supports ODT and everything, ODS and everything. So they have really no reason not to do it. They just don't because it's the industry standard or some other reason like that. Forgotten Lore is a free trading card game with Linux support. Players can make and submit their own cards to get accepted into the game, and the cards you earn in the game can be used outside of the game in the Steam market. So you could sell cards and stuff. So it's the economy of the game is controlled by the players. Liberty Paul says, I don't get trading card games. And I would try to explain it to you, but I also don't get trading card games.
No, definitely not my style.
Yeah. But, speaking of trading card games, last but not least this week, we have Argentum Age, which is another collectible card game, but the twist with this one is that it's completely open source. In fact, there aren't any microtransactions or anything, so that's refreshing. It's worth noting that Argentum Age isn't available on Steam, so you'll need to download the game from their website. But it's cool, so you can make your own cards, design your own cards with your own art, and then trade it, put it in the game and trade it with anyone, so there's like no limitations of what cards get in the game. So that's really cool. As far as like the open source aspect to it. As far as how you play this game, and I have no idea. All right, I didn't actually open that. Well, there you go. Actually, I'm going to close that, go to here. Wait, what? Can't be reached. Oh. I spelled it wrong. That would do it. Where is that? There we go. Wait, what? I don't know. Well, that's not going to work. Live streaming switching worked out quite well so far, except for this one thing. So I'm going to skip it. All right. Oh, well.
So you record this live and then you edit out everything but the stuff you're recording for actual?
Yeah. Sometimes I'll include the live stream content in the show if it's relevant. So, like, for example, Brad asked a question about the Librem 5 thing getting to market. I'll probably throw that in there, explaining like the 32 million versus 1.5 million thing. So I'll probably edit that in. But pretty much, yeah. I record the segments individually and then conversation with the chat and everybody's live and everything. And then after the fact, I just edit it all down to what's production.
Right.
And last thing is... Thanks for watching this episode of This Week in Linux. If you liked what I do here, I'm going to start over. If you like what I do here on this show, I'm going to start the show over now. Or at least this segment. Like, I don't mind messing up. Like, I've been like messing up a couple times and just accepting it. But when I mess it up and where the sentence doesn't make any sense, like, I'm gonna fix that. Thanks for watching this episode of This Week in Linux. If you like what I do here on this show, please hit that like button and be sure to subscribe. If you'd like to support the channel, we have a Patreon at patreon.com/TuxDigital, or you can order the Linux is Everywhere t-shirt by going to tuxdigital.com/LinuxIsEverywhere. Just a reminder, the show is live every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, so join us in the live chat or in Discord to discuss this week's Linux GNews. Thanks for watching. I'm Michael Tennell with TuxDigital, and as always, keep using, learning, and enjoying Linux. Bam. That would be a completion of the recording sections.
Blam.
Blam.
Or, as we say, savage.
Savage. Right. What's kind of funny is like the topics that have the most discussion stuff were missed by a lot of people because they left early. That's kind of funny. Like the Humble Bundle thing and the PyTop stuff.
Yep.
Paul, it's a Rocket League thing now. So it might be a Northern Ireland thing in general, but it's now a Rocket League thing. And since Rocket League is so big, it's an everywhere thing.
Correct.
I felt it was a little like drab on some of the topics in the sense of like my delivery.
Your excitement level?
Not necessarily excitement. I just like my cadence I felt a little like dull to me. But, you know, I already recorded it, so it is what it is. Richard Addison, we could rewind and start over. We could. I'm going to just accept it, though, because that's a lot of work to do. And I've already got enough time in making this show. I think I'm on like hour 7 now of making it.
Brad, everybody starts somewhere, brother.
Yeah. Yeah, Brad.
Me and Brad played a couple games the other night.
Oh, okay. Like his first time? Like did you play with him like his first time playing?
I don't think it's his first time playing, but, you know, he's a newer player, and,
Okay.
you know, everybody starts somewhere.
Well, yeah, for sure. Like Rocket League is a game of skill, and every time everyone who starts playing that game is going to be bad at it. Like it's just that's how it is. So you have to build the skill in order to get good at the game. And I'm decent at the game. So
hey, decent starts with D.
So does systems.
So does diamond.
Yeah, that does too. Well, I mean, I only make brag jokes when I'm playing the game. I don't actually consider myself the best or anything. But when I'm playing the game and I do something cool, I will say that I'm the best player of this game ever. Even though it's not true at all. Thanks, Richard, for the compliment. I appreciate that. I gotta make this a podcast version too because I haven't released it as an audio version. I still need to do that.
What?
Yeah, I know. I have not. Episode 9 will be the first one with the audio version. Maybe.
But you will lose some of it in the translation from not having the screenshot.
That's true. That's why I wanted to do both. You know, if somebody wants to listen to audio, they can. If otherwise, the part where I talk about how PyTop's ugly, I mean, that's a visual thing anyway, so they can look up if they want to. But like, the best thing about Rocket League, Paul and Brad, is like when you have that game, it's you're very bad at it, but it's still fun, and that's what's so good about it. Because you know everybody you play will also be bad. Typically, you know you could party with someone who's not on the same level, the same amount of time playing, so it could be weird. Things can happen. That's why when I convince people to play it, I always tell them, you should play like 2 or 3 hours without me before you experience playing with me. Because it'll be weird. Although, I raged yesterday.
No, you didn't.
I totally raged on Rocket League. It had nothing to do with me playing. You know how I was telling you I was rubber banding all the time? It was really annoying. I rubber banded in a 1v1 13 times in one game. And 4 of which resulted in goals. One of which was on a kickoff when it's a straight shot, so he just hit the ball in the goal immediately. And the servers just made me flip forward, and then while going forward, turn like 45 degrees and then 30 feet to the right. Absolutely no reason at all. Like, just ridiculousness. And then I still almost won the game. And then I had a breakaway with 0 seconds left on the clock while I was dribbling, holding it. And then all of a sudden, I flip uncontrollably and lose the ball. It's just, it's like, they just wanted me to lose that game. Like, they did as many possible things to make me lose as they could. So I raged on it because, like, if I lose because I'm beaten by someone better than me, that's fine. That's one thing. If I lose because I screw up, that's annoying and I'll get mad at myself, but I won't rage. If I lose because the server continuously screws me, I will rage from that. So I save the game to show, and like, because you lag in the replay. If you didn't know that, if you lag in a game, you will lag in replay.
Really?
Yeah, because it saves how you experience the game. So like all the metadata that you experience will also be in the replay because the replay is keeping the same metadata. So it is like, so there's the only reason I know it was 13 is I counted each one, and a few were just atrocious. Like where I'm going for the ball and all of a sudden I'm up the wall for no reason. It's like, what? So I got a little mad yesterday. Although I didn't, when I say I raged, I just got mad and quit playing. I didn't throw anything or anything. So my rage is very non-ragey. Just quite mad. I refuse to throw my controllers for a fear of breaking them. And yeah, like a week ago, my controller broke just because. It's awesome.
Still haven't decided to play with a controller.
I mean, you don't have to. If you can do it, fine. It is what it is. I'm thinking about possibly playing today and see if I rage or not.
Nice.
Now I gotta close all these things. Oh wait, no. I resize all my windows so that they fit better on the screen. So sometimes I'll forget to zoom out of something, And I'll go back into it later and be like, why is this so weird? There we go. Those are all done. My skill level being what it is, I rage at myself all the time in games. Well, like, what the best thing about this game is that it just takes time to get the skill. Like, some games are...
It does.
You really... There's some games you can't do it. Like, if you're not... You don't have the dexterity to do that game. Whereas this isn't really about dexterity. It's about, like, learning techniques and implementing them and stuff like that. I play with my sons and we have fun no matter how bad we are. That's good. I like... I saved replays of when I was bad. And going back and looking at it, it's pretty fun. Because I remember, like, doing something in the game and going like, whoa, that's amazing. And now I look at it and go like, yeah, it's every day. That's like every 10 seconds in the game.
It mocks you for playing on easy?
Yeah, Wolfenstein does. Some games like to do that. I kind of wish I'd stream my games when I was playing badly. So now like people like watch the progression. Because now when I start, I'm already diamond, so it's like... Well, I was plat when I first started, technically. But I got gold 3 in 1v1 because of so much rubber banding. Like, I raged a bit for that one. Like, my minimum should be plat something. Don't miss out on Kubuntu, Aardvark. Initial RC image is now available. Yeah, the RCs are... The 5.11 PPA is a good thing. I'm glad that they're doing that. What's really cool is 1804 is guaranteed to have 512. So...
Because of the timing of it?
Yeah. I talked to the developers, I talked to the Plasma team and the Kubuntu team, and they both said that they coordinated to make sure that 512 would be released on 1804. So like they're releasing it with enough time so that they can make sure that's in the release. And also they chose January so they could have it, basically in everything, available for everything. Because that's enough time for basically any distro to do it. Which I like that a lot. Because I think they released 5.8 in October of last year. It's like, that's problematic. Nothing can put that in now. So maybe they learned their lesson, I guess.
All right, I'm going to step away for some coffee.
Sounds good. I might throw up a Rocket League stream or something.
Nice.
I don't know, like, is it weird to have Rocket League being streamed on the Tux channel, or should I have a different channel?
Well, I've always thought about it as it's a cool idea to have separate channels for it, but you fragment people.
Is 0 on that channel. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, because some people will only watch that channel or only watch the TuxDigital channel, and so you almost have to have it in one spot if you don't want it fragmented.
Yeah. I don't know. I might fragment it later or something. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, I'll be back.
All right. You don't think it's weird, Brad? Okay, cool. I think I'm gonna go ahead and like kill the stream and then bring it back up, because it's kill the stream for the show and bring it back up for some Rocket League play. Oh yeah, well, I don't play it on Windows for sure. It's like we're like, this is a Linux gaming stream now. I pretty much I have like one game on Windows that I play, and I haven't played it in like 2 months, so I don't really play it. And the reason I don't play is because it requires me to reboot my machine. It's like, meh, I don't care. I don't care about playing it that much. Rebooting, no. And also, I don't want to use Windows, because it's like a torture. Like every time I turn it on, it's like something is gonna just irritate me. Just guaranteed. All right. See if I can just switch it. What happens if I switch it while it's not running? Yeah, that definitely did not work out. For anybody who's, if I don't know if it's going to show on the stream or not, but it just went completely black. It's like, yeah, that didn't work. Yeah, I typically only buy Windows games in a bundle. I think this game was like a free discount thing or something. I forgot. Someone might give me a key. I don't remember. But I don't use Windows other than to play this one game. But I don't even use it anyway. Like, and it's also kind of funny because it's like the first time I've started using. This year was the first time I started using Windows for gaming, and prior to that, I hadn't used Windows in like a decade. Now Windows feels alien to you. Yeah, very similar to me too. Like, I still remember how to, like, all the intricate stuff. But every time I have to deal with it, it's just like torture. All right. I'm going to close the stream, change it to Rocket League, restart the stream, and see if it keeps the chat room and everything still working. I think it will, but I don't know. So, be right back.